What's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to be checking out the DC Collectibles Wonder Woman on Horse statue. This piece was sculpted by James Marciano and stands a whopping 17.5 inches high, or 44.45 centimeters. Much like the just recently looked at Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor, the Wonder Woman and Horse comes on the same style of display bottom, featuring the silver band wrapping around the perimeter of the base, and featuring the Wonder Woman logo on the sides. It doesn't require actually too much in the way of assembly. The horse as well as Wonder Woman come already intact, one full piece. The tail has to be installed simply in the back, and the sword slides into woman's arm. I'll show you that in a second. And then basically you're just taking the horse and you're planking it down onto the smoke bottom. Now it attaches actually in two places, and this would be one instance where I would say make sure you have a firm, secure fit. Being the nature of the way that the statue stands, you can see that the horse tilts ever so slightly to an angle. It's also tilting away essentially from where it's pegged. So you want to make sure, again, there's a peg hole here, and then there's a secondary peg hole attaching the back knuckle or the back ankle portion of the horse's leg, attaching it to the smoke. Those are the only two connector points where this entire steed is attached to the bottom. Let me again show you where those peg points are. There's a peg point right there, right on the under hoof of the horse. That's your main connector. And then your secondary connector connects right here. This is enough to kind of keep it stable. Again, because the horse tilts to the side, you want to make sure that that is a good, firm-footed, secure fit. The bottom, the actual display base, looks really neat. It's got that kind of rubbly, kind of ground bottom to it. What I really like though is the smoke, the actual kick up of the dirt and the sand as the horse is running. They've done really a nice job here of adding some nice additional shading. It actually comes across slightly like it's translucent. The more and more I look at it, it looks like it started as a translucent appliance, and then they just like airbrushed some additional browns and some whites and some beiges and stuff in there. This is a really unique piece as well. You don't really get a lot of instances where you have a movie character riding on top of something this large. The horse is done beautifully, beautiful looking sculpt on the head, the body. It doesn't seem to have like a whole lot of paint. Instead, it really relies more on its sculpt to get the point across. I don't really see very many instances where there's a lot of extra paint that's been applied to the horse itself. There might be a little few areas here and there, such as the bottom of its feet have a slight wash of like a medium brown or so. But the horse itself stays very much a dark, slightly dark chocolate brown, almost borderline black. You could probably count on your one hand how many times a company has sculpted a horse. This particular steed looks beautiful. Again, a lot of that chocolate brown making use of most, if not all, the body of the horse. One little area that doesn't get that, of course, are the eyes as well as the mouth. And I'm pleasantly happy to see that the mouth right here was actually open. If the mouth was closed, for starters, having the mouth open also looks like the horse is using energy. It's actually in motion. It's breathing. It's in motion as opposed to a closed mouth. Having it also a closed mouth would have also had more of the same color making up the majority of its head as well. Just that little bit of lighter pink as well as the yellow in the teeth do break up, again, a lot of that brown. The eyes are nicely done, almost a medium brown. You got a little bit of the black incorporated in there for the pupils. And the hair looks like it is actually, or the mane I should say, is a little bit darker in color, almost closer to a black. Horseback riding enthusiasts will also see that all the strapping has been incorporated into the horse as well. So you've got your nose band running across the bridge of the horse's nose. You've got the head stall running actually right underneath the area of the ears. You've got your throat latch. And of course, you've got your main reins coming down, in which Wonder Woman is holding them with her one hand. Those areas are also areas where you get some extra color going. These areas here, if I can just move them with my finger, are actually real fabric straps, which is really nice. It gets a little more rigid plastic further down, but I like actually that the reins are a real material. It kind of feels like it could be like still a thin plastic, but I like that it's not a solid, rigid piece of plastic. There's like a little bit of give that's there. Some nice extra details there also in the saddle as well as the stirrup, also utilizing that kind of lighter brown color. Then you start getting into elements of, well, things that Wonder Woman is carrying with her, primarily like the shield, for example, which again really pops against the backdrop of the coloring of the horse. You've got the nice rich color of the gold, accented there as well with the coloring of the gunmetal gray. The shield, I will admit, could have used a little bit more of a more starker detail to it. Like the sculpt is good, but the paint kind of misses its mark a little bit. It doesn't look like it really is all that much precise, I think, around the parameter of the shield. I think if that had just been cleaned up a little bit. I get what they were going with. They were trying to give it like a worn look to it, but I feel like some of the outer areas might not have been fully realized. Maybe an extra coat of paint could have also helped that. Spent so much time looking at the horse, let's look at Wonder Woman here. You can see that she is holding the reins with one arm as she is holding the sword in the other. You can see also that they've sculpted in her lasso. It's on the side there, as well as a blanket and the cloak here that she's also worn in the movie. Both the hair and the head sculpt, I think, looks really good on Wonder Woman. I might say that maybe the flesh tone looks a little too shiny, like there's a little bit of a sheen that I wish that would have been more of a matte treatment. But the hair, I think, is done really nicely, as well as the coloring for her outfit. There's a close-up look at her head. The hair is sculpted really nicely, giving a sense of flow. And I like that it doesn't just look like one mound of hair, like you can see all the individual strands and bunches of hair flowing independently. The head sculpt is done really nice, a nice beautiful portrayal of Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. They've sculpted the mouth slightly open, which I guess works. I mean, it's about the same kind of as the horse. Both are expelling energy, so I mean, makes sense that her mouth might be slightly more open. I feel like the skin tone kind of reads a little on the clammy side. I mean, again, you could chalk it up to the fact that Wonder Woman maybe is a little sweaty. She's riding the horse into battle. Maybe, again, would explain why she's got a little bit of that. But unfortunately, I think by making it slightly a shinier skin tone, I think it detracts slightly a little bit from her head sculpt. The head sculpt is beautiful and really is one of my new all-time favorite Wonder Woman statue sculpts. But I feel like the skin tone could have maybe been softened a little bit closer to a matte and not so much a shinier complexion. I mentioned already that the statue stands at 17.5 inches tall, but just in case you're curious as to how long the statue stands, I'm going to take a measurement from the outer point of the front hoof, and I'm going to run that all the way to the back of the tail. It's approximately, it's actually on exactly 22 inches long. At the time that you're watching this video, I haven't had a chance yet to pick up and review the Themyscira Warrior Wonder Woman, also from DC Collectibles, but I did have a chance to check out the Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman set statue, which if you haven't had a chance to check out that video, go have a look maybe after watching this video. Of the two statues, I might say this one is my personal favorite. I did really like the stance and the fact that they would have paired Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman together as a pair, because Steve Trevor, as good as it was, I don't know would have would have warranted having a statue all on his own. Pairing him next to Wonder Woman, I mean, they had such great chemistry in the movie. It was a good looking statue. And the Wonder Woman stance as well as her head sculpt was done really nice. Now that I'm looking at this, the Wonder Woman on horse, I have to admit that this might be my new favorite piece. It's large. It's a little bit bigger than, of course, some of the other collectibles that you may be able to fit on display. So mileage may vary as to whether you can actually fit a piece this large. But I mean, really, the commanding presence of her riding on top of a steed that all on its own has a really strong presence to it. I really do, despite worries the fact the way it was pegged in, I love the fact that the horse tilts slightly, right there, slightly to the side rather than an upright. It gives, again, more sense to flow. And having the Wonder Woman holding the sword upright while holding the reins with her other arm, again, really commands a super cool presence. Something that you probably may not be able to gauge 100% through this video, and hopefully through these videos I can convey just how cool statues like this can be. But really a fantastic piece. On its own, Wonder Woman could have just been a standing statue, and I think DC Collectibles did still great sculpts on the face, the body, the costume and whatnot. But this kind of takes statue displaying to a whole new level. Incorporating something like a horse and Wonder Woman on top of it is utmost cool. It is one of the coolest looking pieces to have on display. The Wonder Woman on horse statue should be available in comic book stores now. If you go to a comic book store and unfortunately they either don't have this in yet or maybe they've sold out, generally a lot of times comic book stores can order them in for you and you can pick them up a couple of weeks later. But certainly fans of the Wonder Woman movie, I would highly recommend picking up this piece. It's a little bit more expensive, yes, because it's a much more bigger statue, of course. But I honestly think it's well worth it based on how cool the sculpt on the horse is, and especially how cool Wonder Woman is on top of the horse. Such a cool looking statue, and I said cool a lot of times. Today, though, we were looking at the DC Collectibles. This was the Wonder Woman movie, Wonder Woman on horse statue. Great looking piece. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to this channel yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that little subscribe button down below and you won't miss a beat when it comes to future videos. Also, if you're a fan of Wonder Woman, there's a whole playlist dedicated to the Amazonian warrior. And even on top of that, if specifically you're looking to check out some more DC collectible statue reviews, I've also got a playlist designated for that as well. So lots of older videos you guys can check out at your viewing pleasure. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for liking these videos. It really means a lot. And as always, I'll see you next time.